in this video I want to talk about frequencies and how I think that messed up frequencies are usually the reason why people have trouble moving up. Like, let me just play these two hands first. Pocket fours. I'm not gonna bet the turn. There's no reason to. I don't think, and he's gonna like if he has king x, he's gonna call. You could check back weak ace x on the flop. So um, here I am betting the turn with my ace four. Um, it's a spot where I like to merge my hand sort of, and also sort of like bluff with it. I think he's gonna uh, bet his queen x more often than he's gonna check it. So once he checks, is probably not trapping with queen x. So he could have an ace x that I'm splitting with, or he could have a better ace x. Um, and there's a little bit of straight draws out there that he might just give up on the turn, but still have some equity against me. Um, but the main reason I'm betting on the turn is to get him off of ace x that I'm chopping with, um, and to if I still have the flush draw, so if I hit the flush, I can value bet. And the most important thing about this hand is that um, for me to bet this turn, I have to be fairly certain of a couple of things. First of all, is that he does not have queen x himself that often, because if he does, then I'm kind of screwed changing my ace x into like sort of merge. And it's also pretty important to like if I check back turn, is he gonna bluff the river? I would say probably not. So for that reason, I decided to bet it on the turn, which I think is fine. I think checking is fine, betting is fine. Betting is a little bit more non-standard, but I think it gets so many. I just think it's like I do that a lot. Like I try to get people off of splits quite often. And in that spot, I thought it was a good spot to do it. Hmm. Here on table two, I thought that my king eye was good on the flop for obvious reasons, and he ends up betting king jack on the flop and then checking it down. I'm not sure. I don't really like his flop bet, but I can't really fault it either. But king jack is such a strong hand on that flop to, or like such a good hand to have in your check back range that I probably prefer checking back. But as I was getting to the frequency story, and I really think that the problem most players have, like a lot of my students, also in the past, is uh, they had leaks that were pretty hard to like point out right away. Like it was wow, he makes it 4x on the button. Well, I'll make a big 3-bet just because I have ace king and he doesn't know me, and he makes it 4x on the button. So hmm, I get flatted in the. I'm gonna go apeshit crazy, I think, in this spot. Yeah, cause I don't think that the Zadaster, he plays higher stakes for sure, cause I've played with him before. I don't think he would flat aces there. I really don't think he would flat aces or kings there. I think he would call 4-bet. And the same I can say for bets on the button. I think that once someone calls my um, calls my when someone cold calls the 3-bet, I really think that he would back or like 4-bet aces preflop. So I don't think they both have like the top of the overpair range. And if they don't, then it's a pretty good spot to go crazy with my ace king, because I almost definitely have overs to their hand, and they're gonna fold pretty often. Like this other star and could have like ace queen or whatever, and 7-7 bets could have anything. So yeah. Um, you got some hand on table 2 was totally standard, obviously. The hand on table 4, however, is pretty interesting. I lead into the pre-flop raiser. The reason why I lead it into him is that I could check raise, could check call, but I felt I like it's sort of like pot controlling my bluff, if you get what I mean. It's sort of like pot controlling my bluff, basically. If I check raise this board and he calls me, then first of all, I feel like I'm wrapping. Uh, he's gonna feel more bluffy about it, just because that's how people think for some reason. Because it seems like that much more aggressive to check raise, and it seems like it makes my range narrower. Whereas in fact, like once I overbet the turn, it's pretty much the same range. Um, Although, well, I would probably not lead pocket eight, so it's probably the same. But he's definitely gonna have pocket eights in my range, though. I'm pretty sure. Like he's gonna put it in my range. But so I bet the flop. I think he would raise really strong hands quite often, especially because I bet pretty small. And the plan is like if he calls, I can turn an ace or a queen. There are quite some cards that I can continue bluffing on. And also, as you can see, I overbet the turn to basically just to put him in like a really tough spot. I mean, there's just very few hands that are comfortable against an overbet in this spot, especially considering the hands that are in his range under the gun when he opens under the gun. So I overbet, and I thought that was a pretty interesting line, so I just got it out there. Um, and this is a spot where when we're talking about frequencies, you don't want to do it too often because people are gonna adjust by first of all calling you down lighter, but also by noting that you overbet once they. I'm thinking about check raising or check calling. I feel like check raising is slightly better. The reason why I think check raising on the first board is slightly better is because if I check call flop, he is gonna put me on queen x for the most parts because there are more combos of queen x. So he could barrel. He could also put me on a flush draw. So he could barrel the turn light, expecting me to fold those parts of my range. And obviously, I do not want him to barrel light. So I just check raise, and it's very credible for me to have ace x for obvious reasons. And he folded, which is fine. The cards that I would continue on that board when I check raise would be I would bet one more on blanks probably because he might bet call. Actually, gonna check fold the 5-7 suited here. I think there are too many hands in his defending range that are gonna float me, and I don't really want to barrel off with this hand, so I'm just gonna check fold it. But yeah, the cards that I would have continued on in the King Jack hand on table 1 were any spade, definitely bet. And actually, like most turns, like there might be some turns, maybe like the offsuit 2, that I would give up on because he might not fold a queen to that. But even if the card isn't like an offsuit 8 or 9, it doesn't change the board that much compared to the 2. But he's still gonna fold more often. He's still gonna fold his queen x more often than on a offsuit 2. That's just how it works, basically. I mean, that's how I feel like that spot was constructed. So yeah, but it worked out. He folded on a flop. I think I talked about the ace queen hand enough. Oh yeah, I actually want to talk about frequencies in this spot. So how often do you wanna make this kind of play? And the answer to that is you do not want to make this play very often, but you want to do it sometimes, and you want to catch people by surprise. Like if you did it like 2 times before against the same guy, I mean, it's probably a bad idea to do it again as a bluff.